Good morning. Good morning. Hopefully you're joining me from somewhere warm. Happy Thursday. We've made it to Thursday for the week. Only one more day and then you get your weekend. Let me see if I can grab some comments here. See who's joining me. Yes, it's just me again today. Taylor was busy. Hello, Paula. Thanks for joining me. Hello, Debbie. Yeah, it's a little foggy here. We've had this going on all week, which it's dangerous as far as driving, but it means that we have a little slightly warmer temps in Iowa, so I'll take it. It's things are melting and it's getting a little mushy outside, a little muddy. So good morning. Good morning, Paula. Thanks for joining me. I hope you're all having a good week. I hope you've been enjoying the retirement sale that's going on. Good morning from Wisconsin. Foggy there too. Yeah, I assume we're probably all under the same thing. We all had that cold weather and now we're warming up a little bit. So all that, I think it has to do with all of our snow and stuff on the ground, but I am definitely no meteorologist, but I'll take it. Thank you. Like my pink sweater. Well, we're doing Valentine's again today. So I wanted to make sure I was in the Valentine's spirit, right? Did anyone hear what Taylor was saying? And I think they sent out an email or something saying that I had a new product today. So I feel quite honored. This is my second new product to share with you all. So it coordinates. Are you ready? Drum roll. It coordinates with an old product, which was our Create and Quad. Let me grab those. Sorry. Our Create and Quad, our hearts. This was kind of early on in our quads. It's so cute. I really love it. I look back at the samples and I'm like, oh, I've worked with this a lot. I've used this one a lot. But it's the foilets to go with it. So we're going to work through those today, and I made some cards. I noticed the email this morning had my cards on it, so you've already seen them. But yeah, that went live today, and we're going to make some cards with some of the new Valentine's products because I just love some of the new Valentine's stuff, and I was on vacation, so I didn't get to work with a bunch of it. So good morning, everyone. Good morning from Minnesota. Yay. Product release on a Thursday. I agree. Very fun. Whitney's here. Thank you, Whitney, in case I need anything. Kelly. Good morning, everyone. Yeah, tell me what's going on in your world. It sounds like there's fog and rain, and hopefully no one's still getting this blast of cold that we just got done with. So California, I bet you're a lot warmer than we are here, I hope. Yeah. Are these new foilets part of the regular line? Yeah, it should be. I don't see why it wouldn't be. I guess I didn't ask the appropriate people, but I don't see why it wouldn't be. It'll be around. But grab them so you can use them for Valentine's this year. Good morning. Good morning, Foggy, Sally says. I feel like that's the theme right now. I don't know. Now that I've been back from vacation, it was so cold when I got back from Florida that it was like, ooh, it was quite the shock to the body. And I'm one of those people that really hates winter coats only because I put it on and then I go get in my car and it's 70 degrees in my car and then I'm warm. So I always have my winter coat because my mom taught me you have to be ready for anything. I always put my winter coat in the back seat in case I need it, but I hate wearing it. So especially when I'm sitting in the car driving. So like 35 degrees is about what we're supposed to have here in Iowa today. I can handle that with my sweater and a vest or a light jacket or something. So I'll take this. Much better than the -5 high we had a couple of days there. So yes, I don't know if there was a link. Farley's asking if there was a link to the new foilet in my email. I just saw it this morning. I guess I didn't click on anything. Let me look at the name, because if you put it in the search tab, it should be right there. It just says Hearts Quad. If you put that in, that should pop it up right there. But it should be live. I know it's downstairs hanging in the warehouse. So, and then yes, I will have a sneak peek because it's the end of the month. So as you know, it'll be our kit. But yeah. Good morning from Houston, Texas. Yep, I'm sorry for the lights again. I think it's Paula's got her foilet in her cart. Yes, good morning. And like Taylor said, the post-it postage dies, I think they were called, the ones that make the postage edge. Those are back in stock. I noticed the sentiment set was back in stock that I wanted. I didn't get that in my first order, and now I'm sad about it. So let me see, did I miss any comments? Nope. And Whitney just added the foilet and the quad to our discussion. So if you needed either of those, I don't know if it looks like she added it on Facebook. So yeah. Anyway, we'll get into it because I really think it's going to take me a minute to get a whole quad blended and hopefully make it through 4 cards. I'll skip ahead if we need to. I have pre-done a few things for us, but yeah, let's get to it. I'll switch you down. And here's my cards. So if you're on our email list, I know I got my email this morning, so you saw a sneak peek of these cards. And a lot of what I used is the new Valentine stuff. I know there's tons of inspiration on the website from when this was originally released, but it's been a minute, so it would be kind of nice to have some new products used with it. And I think it would be beautiful in like some brighter rainbow. I know back a long time ago, I won't forget, Heather Nichols did one in gray tones for a wedding. It was just stunning. So tons of good inspiration online with this one. So anyway, we'll get into blending it, but again, I'll show you this is the new foilet pack. That's the back of it. I have my foilet setting here, so I won't open the new one. So this one is the one that just goes down the side here. This one these are the different ones the way they come. So really fun. I know in the past we've used other accessories and other hearts to stamp and emboss into these quads when they're done, but this will make it really nice and easy for you. And I did use on these, I used our new Fun Foam in the silver shimmer. So I will get my mink turned on here and heating up while we talk. So I'll get these out of the way. I love how they turned out. So the colors that I used, just so you have it from the beginning, but I will be ink blending all of them. Dragon fruit, strawberry milkshake, lavender glaze, and plum punch. And I wasn't sure, I don't use strawberry milkshake very much, but it really pairs just beautifully with dragon fruit. So I loved how all 4 of the colors came together. And because sometimes I like Valentine pink, but I like to throw a little purple in with it. So those are my colors that we will ink blend here in a minute, but just to give you those while this is heating up. Bring my mink in a little bit. We can get the foil cut. Some of the foilets that I don't like just go ahead and cut the full 5 1/4 by 4. I will cut as to make it fit, especially like this one, because there's this whole chunk through the middle that doesn't get foiled, just to save my foil. So we do save that little tab that comes around your foil, so might want to do that too. I will start, let's see if I can get this to work anywhere. I don't think so. I need a straight edge to start. And if you're cutting foil, I know some people choose to use trimmers. I'm just afraid of it. I have tried it before and wrinkled my paper, and then I just get upset with myself for wasting it. So totally up to you. I just try to use a very long bladed scissors that is not sticky. That's my biggest thing. I cannot have any adhesive on my scissors or it will mess with my foil. And then this one, I just cut a strip for both sides, both ends. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this, and then what's left over maybe I can use for that one. I'm not very precise about it, I guess. I just lay it over the top and trim mine. And then I do save my extra pieces, whatever I don't use. So we'll cut a piece for the top of this and the bottom. That way I don't waste what's going around in the middle, and it doesn't give, that would be waste in the middle, plus it would probably, that gives it the foil a chance to wrinkle, and I don't want that either. So, and then yep, my extra piece fits there and then some. Let me cut a little bit of that off just to be able to save that. Set that aside. My foil out of the way. Again, like I said, I do save that little tab that comes with your foil roll. I don't know if it's always the same or not. Let me see, did I miss anyone? Yes, you can still get that heart quad set. Yes, it's still on the website. Yes. Yes, you can still get that. So, and I let my mink warm up, but then I give it, and after it beeps, I like to give it 1 minute longer just to make sure it's really good and heated up. Let me get this one, last one going. I suppose I wouldn't have to cut those off, but I just really like to save all the pieces. I use these for like sentiments and stuff like that. So there is a use for those small pieces. Let's start with this one. Grab my carrier sheet. So I've got the carrier, RTE carrier, and then RTE shim. And I will lay that on there. Just make sure you've got all your toner covered. Run that through. And the other thing is I do like to let my foil cool after it comes out before I peel it up. Just a personal thing. I think it helps me. So, checking all the comments. I did not get one of those Facebook notebooks, but I'm kind of thinking I do need one of those. I could even make notes. Sometimes I forget, like, oh, what colors did I use on that card or whatever. And I can usually recall, but it would be very helpful. I grabbed another carrier and shim. I'm going to use that just because it can give me a second for this one to cool while I push this one through. Because they come in a 2-pack, which when they decided to do that, I was happy because I'm always searching for one. So it's kind of nice. So run these through, let this one cool a little bit, just to the touch. Get the next one ready to go. It's kind of nice to get it all done in the beginning, and we will set it up. And I know there's been the debate, do you foil first? Do you blend first? At the end of the day, I'd like to foil first, but if for some reason something happens and you're like, oh, I really wanted to foil that, but I forgot, or you thought maybe you didn't want to foil it, send it through. As long as your ink is dry, it's okay. But I do really like to foil first if I have a choice. Let me make sure I'm not missing anything. And then this last one, again, cut the pieces to fit right over the top. I'm just going to double check. I was thinking in my head, I wonder how many pieces you get. You get 3 of each of the designs, and there's 4 designs. So you get 12 in that pack, which I think is our standard for all of our foilet packs. Send this last one through, and then we get to line up our stencil. So I love using the glass board a lot. Anytime I ink blend, I love to use it. If I am doing quads, when I set them up, I do like to have the paper pad. It's completely 100% personal preference. I know Taylor chooses to just use the lines on here to line things up. It completely boils down to whatever your preference is. So I'm going to use a piece of paper, but again, please know that it really boils down to whatever your preference is, because I do like to be able to use these to blot off some of my ink off of my brushes, but you can 100% use the glass mat from beginning to end. You don't need paper. I really like putting my squares and marking the squares in the quad down, but again, personal preference, whatever. If you would rather pick a corner on here and line everything up, do that. All boils down to what you like to do in your craft room. So we'll get these out, we'll carry your sheets out of the way. The magic of peeling them up, this is my favorite part. I don't know about you guys, this is my favorite. Perfect. Perfect. I love how those turned out. So pretty. I think they're just pretty on their own, but we're gonna make it even better. Let's toss those out. So I always think lining these up takes a minute, but it really makes for effortless. Once you get it all lined up and get it behind there, it's worth the effort. So it takes a minute, I feel like, at first, but we'll get this all going. The first thing you'll want to do, that I like to do just because it really helps me later, is get a bunch of whatever temporary tape you're going to use ripped off, and I like to stick it either on the edge of my glass board or the edge of my table, just so I have it and I'm ready to go. So when I line these up, I have all my stencils. I did this before I started the live. I made sure I had them all down in the bottom right corner and started with one. So we have these awesome etching lines that show you where an 8 by, like if you had 8.5 by 11 sheet of cardstock covers the whole thing. But when you take that little bit of edging off, these are already cut down to 4 by 5 1/4. So 8. So if you laid them all out, you're at 4 by 10 1/2. But they're already cut down. So you want to take the edge of each of these and line them up with that etching edge. Now, once I do that, then I also look. So once I have them on there and lined up, then I also start looking at some of my connection points. So right here where this heart comes right down the center of these, the heart that's are foiled, double check that and make sure you're lined up. And once that's lined up, then I grab a piece of temporary tape and I put it on the back. And normally I go like this first and then put it on the back. And I like to do it that way because I swear sometimes when I flip this over and try to put the tape on it, I've moved it just a smidge and it bugs me. So I do try to have that tape somewhere ready to go, so I'm not trying to hold this and pull tape off. So again, I'm going to take my second piece of the foilet. I'm going to line that up with those etching lines on the quad. Stencil already. Line those up first. Then I will come back in and check, and yes, I'm running straight down the middle of these. So I will grab my tape again, adhere that. I'm going to avoid the squares because the squares I do want to mark on my paper. But again, like I said, that's a personal preference. I want to check that I didn't move anything. I did a smidge. Let me fix this. You can tell this one's a little bit off. Again, it's just me being particular, but then once this is all set up, I'm good to go. I won't have to fussy with this again. I can just do one stencil after the other and keep going. Scooch this just a smidge. There we go. Obviously, this is one of those things I cannot do and talk at the same time and use real words, right? There we go. Again, good there, good there. Then on to the next one. Something else that I like to do is I will throw a piece of tape between these two on the back, just to make extra sure that they're staying put. I want to just fix that. Let's double check that that's still right. Yep. So I will put an extra piece of tape between these two back here, just help it stay in place while I'm messing with the other ones. So we'll go to this one. It's really easy, except for I cannot put my head right over top because I'll block your camera. That would be bad. Line that one up. And this one, I line that up, but I do need to scooch down just a smidge. So that's why I always say line it up first and then check your points, because I had that all lined up and I was like, nope, I want these half hearts to land right next to the opening of where that stencil opening is. So got that. And again, I want to go this way just a smidge. Let me get this lined up. And again, I do this just to get a little bit of that tack off. Sorry, this one I'm getting. I should really, you know what would help me too is my glasses. I should have done that. There we go. This is all going to be so much easier now, right? I don't know if the rest of you, I am at the point where I need readers and I forget. There we go, so much better. So again, this one, I'm lining it up with the etching, but then when I went to check, it is a smidge down from that, but I like to use that etching as my first guideline. Really helps to know if gets me at least in the ballpark so I know, and then I can make my adjustments after that. So I'm gonna adjust this one down. I keep running into the other one, but that's where it's good to line that up, tape it, and then you can make those slight adjustments if you need them. There we go. I made that look harder than what it is. Sorry about that. It's mainly because I needed to grab my glasses. Should have done that a long time ago, right? Okay, now this one, you've got the small hearts and then these bigger ones. You want this up at the top to match up with these little ones. So again, I'm going to follow those etching lines in the corner and then double check that things are lining up down the center of these hearts. I think I have enough tape to finish this up. See, much easier now I've got my glasses on. That one went much faster. One more piece of tape, put it down the side, and then I will kind of secure things a little bit more. So once that's done, you're able to do all four. So your efforts are worthwhile. And again, like I said, you could just use your glass mat and pick a corner that you're gonna put that in every time. I am so used to using the little squares that you just can't, I don't know, once you're used to something, that's just the way I like to do it. So I'm gonna grab some of our temporary tape runner, that is. Grab this. Sell it on the website. I just like, you could use some regular tape runner, whatever your favorite is, and just tap your finger over it to take down some of the tack. Completely up to you, but I always use the temporary stuff, I have for years. And then I will put this on, and still, I do like to find a corner to put that out. Hold it all down, and you won't have to go through that process again until you want to do another 4 of them. So I'm going to take a pencil, and just because this is something I still like to do, so I still like to mark the squares. If you're using the glass mat, you're just going to want to pick a spot. So, hard work done. What do we think? Did you stick with me? Yes, thank you guys, sorry. Should have grabbed my glasses early on, right? All right, so I'm gonna start with dragon fruit. That's what I did with my original. And I love my inkstand, and that is another reason why I love the glass board, is because my inkstand will stay put. I don't have to chase it at all. So tap off and then come in and start ink blending. So once you have the hard work done, then this should just keep going fast. All right. Again, with ink blending, I like to do left to right and then clockwise and counterclockwise to make sure I'm hitting everything. I always, my imagery, whatever I'm working with, I like to have a dark to light most often. So like with these hearts, I'll start like towards this bottom tip of the heart and work my way up. Just because when you first come in after you've put a little ink on your brush and you start in this bottom and just kind of lighten your hand, you'll get that darker down here where you started, wherever you first began. I am a light hand, and this is dragon fruit. I'm sure if you do it, it would look very much different, but Taylor and I discuss this all the time. I think maybe what I'm coming down to is that I had rotator cuff surgery on my right hand, on my right shoulder, and I don't know if that's why, and my arm just gets tired, because if I want to put down a lot of ink, I find I'm like, oh, I'm done, my shoulder's tired, so I blame it on that. So my light hand comes from that, I think. But if you're also like me, the other thing that I find in your shoulder, if you have shoulder issues or elbow or whatever it might be on your arm that hinders ink blending, make sure your ink pads are well inked, because that's the other thing that I find I have to work harder when I don't have ink pads that have enough ink in them. Do you all have your Valentine's Day cards done? Do you send them? That would be my next question. I am really good at sending Valentine's Day cards. I don't know why. It could be just because I like it. I like Valentine's Day. I like decorating for Valentine's Day. I like wearing pink, if you haven't noticed. And no, it's not from the Barbie movie. I have always worn usually the hot pink too. Maybe it's because I was born I was a teenager in the early 90s, that hot pink. Maybe that's where it came from. All right, that looks good. I feel like I always like to grab all the ink that I can off of my glass board. All right, let's move on to the next layer. So all that work that I did at the beginning, struggling without my glasses, it's easy from here on out then, because I've already gone through the trouble of lining those up. So I will set this aside to wash later. I am going to take a little bit of alcohol from my spray bottle to wipe up what's on my glass board right now, because I don't want to grab that when I'm looking for strawberry milkshake. That cleaned up and out of the way. Let's grab our strawberry milkshake. Oh, that's not strawberry milkshake. Grab that and a new blender brush, because these are quite a bit different in color tone. And then layer number 2. And again, I've been putting my stencil number, what the etching is, in the bottom right corner. Oh, look at that. 20 Valentine's Day cards out of Beth. Sorry, I cannot see the name because, again, it's in red. I think it's Mindy. She said that her arm tends to bother her when she's ink blending. Yeah, I agree, especially these big ones, but also make sure your ink pads are well inked. Let's see. Oh, 11 out of Linda for grandkids. Yes. Well, being I've been doing the lives the last couple of weeks on Valentine's Day stuff, I might be close to done. Which is fun, right? I might actually be on time. That would be awesome. So again, here is the easy part then, because I did all that work earlier to get everything lined up. And I have my exposed tape, my temporary tape. So I'm looking at these squares that I marked. I'm also looking at, because I said to you guys, I also pick a spot. So if you were just using the glass board and you had your spot that you're going to line up your stencil in every time, do that. But for me, I do have my squares, and I know I'm using this corner that I've just determined in my mind, and I will use those squares that are marked off. Hold that down, and I can see that my lines are matching up well. I want just a little peak in different places, and there we go. So takes a minute at first. You could butt all 4 of them up to each other and put them down, but I just feel like every printer, could have just that little margin of error, and I would rather line it up from behind so that I see that it's all perfect, and then tape it down and not worry about if the cardstock was perfectly printed on. So let's start with the strawberry shortcake, sorry. I guess that's what I want to eat, strawberry milkshake. Oh, that would be a good question. So I said, I gave you guys this truth a while ago talking about strawberry milkshake. I'm not a big ice cream fan. It's not that I have anything against dairy. I worked at an ice cream shop when I was in high school and middle school, and we were allowed to always bring home, and I could use, these might actually help this whole paper stay in place. Someone just mentioned magnets. I feel like if I use my magnets on my blender, I run into them and I get them dirty. I love my magnets, but I don't always use them when I am stenciling. Just kind of, like I said, everyone's got their way of going about things. So anyway, back to ice cream. I'm not a huge ice cream fan. I feel like it's odd because a lot of people love ice cream. It's not my jam. I think it's from high school. I worked at an ice cream shop, and we were allowed one ice cream something. It was like a knockoff Dairy Queen. I don't know. I'll call it that. I think they called it Dairy Sweet or something like that. But I worked there for like on and off for 7 years. My mom worked there first, then I worked there. So yeah, I don't know. And we were allowed to take one ice cream treat every shift, no matter if you worked 8 hours or you worked 4 hours or whatever. You could take an ice cream with you, or you could, some people would put it in the back room and snack on it every once in a while. I just really wasn't that into it. And so my father found out that I was leaving behind. I find this story hilarious, and I love my father for it. It makes me laugh. He's got a terrible sweet tooth, my father does. And he found out that I was passing up my ice cream treat. And I was like, well, yeah, is that Charlie saying that ice cream is literally her favorite? Well, my father found out that I was passing up and not taking my ice cream or having it. And I said, well, I just don't want it. And he's like, well, then bring it home to me. And I said, well, sometimes I'd get off my shift and it would be, like 9 o'clock at night, 10 o'clock at night by the time we got things cleaned up and out of there. And he goes, well, then, because my parents would be in bed some nights when I got home, and he'd say, well, then put it in the freezer. So I started, would I bring him home? And a lot of times I said, well, what do you want? And he was just fine with like chocolate. He didn't need anything fancy. So I started bringing it home and putting it in the freezer. It made me laugh, though. I think about it all the time. Wow, you're not eating. I think my mom must have told him. I'm not sure how he found out that we were supposed to, or we were able to get ice cream when we worked a shift. So I don't know. It's funny. It makes me laugh. Good memory of my dad. So I just started bringing it home and putting it in the freezer, because I said to him, what do you want? And he's like, ice cream. He didn't even want anything fancy. So, and that probably saved till the next morning or the next night or afternoon, whenever he had it, a little bit better, just being plain. So anyway, can't imagine not liking it. I know, it's weird, right? Reading some of your comments. So yeah, I think I'm an odd duck, but I mean, if it was there and I was at someone's house and I thought I would insult them or whatever, I would eat it. It's not like I dislike it that much. It's just not my jam. Not at all. I got nothing against it. My poor girls have to be dairy free because they cannot process dairy, and they would love to have ice cream. So it's funny that it's not my jam. I don't know why. Ice cream, don't like potatoes and chocolate, so I guess I'm just plain strange. You can eat ice cream in the dead of winter. That's adorable. No. Just not my jam, but there's nothing wrong with it. Again, did you see how quickly I put that one down? I can tell it's all lined up, giving it a quick look to make sure things are in the spot that they should be, and it looks great. So we'll move on to the next color, which is Plum Punch. Grab my blender brush, wipe off my strawberry milkshake so that we don't grab that accidentally. Let's start again. I start with, so where these points come together is where I'm going to start first, and then I will work my way out because I will have less ink on my brush, so it'll make those areas a little lighter. So again, from the center out, or from the bottom point, wherever that lands. Talking about people that are, yep, Karen says she's lactose intolerant. They have made some really good dairy-free ice creams. My girls love, Talenti has a few, and then Ben & Jerry's has some fun flavors, like, I can't remember, I think my girls like something like, I don't even remember, is it Rocky Road, or, but like they've had Talenti as like a raspberry, and I don't know, like a caramel that they love. So I feel like they've come a long way. I wish for those that are dairy intolerant, they would get a little bit better cheese. That's the one thing we kind of struggle with, is my girls love pizza and they can't have it. The one daughter just puts up with an upset stomach, and the other one makes her pizza with no cheese on the top. She says it's quite delicious, so that is one thing I think would be very sad. So anyway, there's tons. I feel like they've gotten the whole dairy-free ice cream and yogurt down. They just need to work on the cheese. So again, plum punch. We're almost there. This layer and one more. We're over half done. Working up a sweat because getting my arm workout in for the day. Pick up all that ink so I don't waste it. I just love the end results of this one, and it's so pretty. I feel like you don't have to do a whole lot, especially when you do these quads with foilets. That's the star of the show, is that foil. Not a whole lot extra is needed, so. Yeah, in the dead of winter, I know my father would eat ice cream in the dead of winter too. And my husband loves ice cream. And I'm so, like, don't even pay any attention to it. He has to remind me, like, we're out of ice cream. Could you put it on the list? Yeah. Yeah, I can't give up cheese either. That is one thing that I love, all of it. Even like blue cheese, I'll eat that on like buffalo wings or a buffalo dish of sorts. Yeah. I know Taylor, she put something out there on Facebook, like wanting to know recipes. I'm always up for a new recipe. And I'm not afraid of too many things. I just will avoid the baked potato if it goes with it. I just won't eat it. I'll find a different side. So let me get the last of this picked up. All right. Okay, one more layer, and then we get to do the fun part, right? Yeah, we got to get going. Whew. I take a while to ink blend. Sorry, I guess I'm slow. I looked at the time. All right, last layer. And like I said, look how easy it is to lay this down because I've got it all lined up already. All the squares are perfect. Yep, there we go. Last layer, and this will be our lavender glaze. And my original projects that were photographed for the website, or for the newsletter, I guess, and probably for Facebook. I have to admit, my lavender glaze, the brush we use here at TE, must have had macaron on it, and it looks a little not true to lavender glaze, but that is the color I intended. So we'll come in with this one. This is our last one. Yay. It's so nice. I like to peek. I'm so not impatient. I like to peek and like be like, ooh, it's going well. It's so pretty. All right. Home stretch, right? My arm isn't getting too tired today. I think too the angle of where you're ink blending. I always find if I'm ink blending and if my shoulder's bothering me, if I stand up instead of sitting down, it's much better for me. If you're a person with shoulder things or whatever. That helps me a lot. Is one, having well inked ink pads. Make sure your brushes aren't getting hard. You know how when they start to get too much ink dried into them and you've got to give them a bath. That helps too. And then make sure your ink pads are well inked and make extra sure you change your angle. I find when I sit to ink blend is when my shoulder starts to get to me. But like I said, I had a rotator cuff fixed. There's a labrum in there too. I had that fixed. So, but much better than it was before my surgery. I'll take it. All right. I think we're good. I think we got all the parts and pieces. I told myself to hurry up. Can you tell? Ink blending faster. Again, I always like to pick up all the extra ink that's on my board because otherwise I'm just wiping it up. There we go. Sally, she says she likes vanilla ice cream and hot chocolate. How does that happen though? Doesn't it just melt? So then you just have a really creamy hot chocolate is what that sounds like to me. Oh, Foggy and Duluth Candy, your weather is exactly what we have here. We are the exact weather report that you just gave me. Foggy and 35 degrees. That sounds just like us here, and I'll take it. I will take it. I'm so glad you're excited about the new colors. Someone says we should have a new yellow named mac and cheese. I like that. Great idea. So there is our finished. Look at that. It's perfect. And I just love that, you know, took me a second. My struggle bus of not having my glasses on, I apologize. I think it would have gone faster if I had found them earlier. So again, I just used temporary tape so they're quick to pull up off of my paper, and we'll get my paper out of the way and we will start building these cards. I did pre-cut a lot of things for us because I knew this would take me a minute to ink blend them all. And I was taping the back because if it does pull a little of the paper off, it doesn't really bother me. And I'm usually that temporary tape, if it's there, I just leave it. The temporary tape runner I use, I don't mess with it. I am just careful that I don't lay it on top of another foiled piece because I would hate to peel up any of my foil with that sticky that's on the back of my panel. So just be careful of that. Don't even need all of that off of there, but I think we're good. All right, let's get this out of the way and we can start building some cards. I'm gonna start, I will show you each of my cards that I originally did and we will build the next one. So this one is what I happened to lay my stuff out to start with. Something that I really use quite a bit when it comes to quads is either the A2 layer stacks or the additions. And the only reason that I use these a lot is because sometimes I just want to either bring it in, I want to get a little bit off, and sometimes it's really hard to just eyeball that, ooh, you know, I want 1/4 of an inch off this side, I want 1/8, or I hate to worry about my paper cutter like grabbing it and moving it at all. So I find I use the A2 layer stacks, whether you have the regular one or the additions. I happened for these cards, I use the additional ones, but whichever ones you have work great. The reason why I reach for the additions is because the biggest one in the additions comes out to there. Do you see, it's probably easier to see on a different card, this one. So do you see how my card base is a regular A2 and that largest one for the additions is just a hair in, and then I use the rest of them. I just get a little bit of the white. I know it's not equal, every layer is not equal distance, but it starts with that one, and then that's what I use for the rest of them. But again, I already cut this out of sea salt with the largest one from the A2. I already cut that out. I have a card base. And then the new postage stacks, the smallest one in that is what I cut another piece of sea salt out of. So they're back in stock. So I did use these today on a couple of cards. But the smallest one is what I cut this out of. It's out of sea salt, like I said. And we will set that aside. And that goes in here. But again, I want to use those additions because I cut this down just so that I could bring it in and not have this white space. That white space is absolutely fine. If that's what you would like, please, it's fine just the way it is. I happen to just like bringing it in, tightening it up, and then I can add a layer. So for this one, so the outer one is this biggest one. It's the first one, the largest one. And I believe it should be 4 and like 1/8, which that's where it lands. So it's just, or 4 and, oh, it's like 4 3/8 is what it comes down to. Yeah, so it's just that hair in, and then the second one in, the second largest is what I'll use to cut this out with. But the regular ones would work too, just do the exact same thing. But I like that I can take this, line it up over the top, and I grab some of my Scotch removable tape, because this is my favorite stuff when it comes to running through the die cut machine. Center that up. I will look left to right. Try not to get my crazy hair in the camera for you. Line that up. Tape it because I do not want this to move. I am aware that I don't put the tape anywhere that the foil is because I just don't want that to accidentally pull up at all. Kind of peeking to make sure I'm straight, and then I'm going to be cutting off just the right amount. I'm not going to bring the die cut machine in. I'm just going to run it through. But it just takes that little bit. See, that's all that it took off. But I'm sure then that all of the edges, the other thing that I love about using a die is that the edges of my cardstock are just pristine. There's something about it for me that I love using a die cut to cut my cardstock. For years I was always like, oh, I don't need those stacks. I can just cut it with my trimmer, which is totally fine. But I just love that it almost kind of gives it this rounded off, beveled, perfect edge. So again, that's the A2 additions, but the regular A2 ones are good too for this. So I'm going to go ahead, I decided to put adhesive. So again, I'm using my 1/32 1x3 foams. I said I'm on my 3rd roll, but someone beat me on that last time I said that. So just had to buy my 3rd roll. So we'll go, and as I've told you before, the other thing I like to do is just peel one of those 4 foam pieces back so I can get it on and eyeball it. If I have to peel it up, it's less work. Peel these back, get them out of there. Sea salt's my favorite too. I love it. Sea salt is just kind of sea salt and white. As soon as Taylor originally said she was bringing this color in, and it had kind of started because she wanted a sea salt ink pad for like no line coloring and stuff like that. So she wanted the sea salt for that, and I was like, I can't wait to get that cardstock. And she was kind of like, why? And I was like, it's gonna look gorgeous against sugar cube. Isn't it funny that everyone has their own vision of products is the word I'm trying to get out. So it's one of my favorite, just to add a little bit of something to a card. So we'll put that down with a little bit of tape runner. When I put these together, I used liquid glue. I kind of wish I had again because I would have had a little more wiggle time. And again, I'm going to use just a little bit more of this foam. I think being this foam is so low profile, I've gotten to the point where I just use it on everything because I don't have to feel bad that I'm adding too much dimension to my cards. Get my garbage out of the way. I did already pre-stamp and emboss my sentiments because I knew it was going to take me a little bit to get this embossed, and this is where I love my new ruler. Not kidding. I was like, where's my ruler? So I'm going to put one of my lines, not a particular line, just one of them, right at the top of my hearts. That way I will know my postage is straight. I kind of just set the edge of my postage die cut right there on the top of it, so it's straight. This is why I wanted for years for this ruler, so I'm so super excited Taylor brought it in. So put down just some liquid glue. And I know in the photos that they shared this morning, or that marketing shared with you guys, I did not have the black I used some of the black rhinestones. I added it. That is a personal preference whether you want it. I just really liked them. So I added them this morning just to see what I thought. So there's that one. And we'll bring them all back in when we're done here. Get my pin back on my glue bottle. Again, glasses, right? Let's go to the next one, which I'm going to show you how to make this one. This is another pretty easy one. I took the postage again, and I used the largest one with sea salt again on my card base. I'm going to open it up like I do, put 4 of these on the back, pop that up. Thank you. Hi from Omaha. Hi from good morning from Pennsylvania. You guys are all over the place. I just love it. Pennsylvania is somewhere I have never been. That's going to have to be added. Oregon, we got that checked off this fall. So my husband's trying to talk me into Utah. He loves to travel, if you can't tell. I'm a little bit more of a homebody, but I'm glad he gets me out. Sorry, what color did I use? I'm sorry, Karen. What color? Foil. I'm sorry that I can see it. I used the silver shimmer. Any of them would be great. Really depends on what colors you choose. I had kind of debated the gold, but it's a little bit cooler tone in these inks. So, oh, and Sandy from Pella. Yes, heart goes to Pella. Yes. One more. Pella, we go there. It just makes my heart sing when I hear Pella, because that's what my girls, we took them there when they were little to the Pella. They have Pella tulip time. Brings me back to my when my girls were babies, right? I don't know why. Every time I think of Pella, all I think about is the girls being little, right? So let's go back to this one. I'm going to use the additions again, and this one I happened so that I could get it to fit inside of this postage stack and to keep my little stitches. I chose the third largest in these additions. Again, you just pick one. If you had the regular ones, just pick one out of there. Line this up. I thought it was this one, but it might be the second. So let me go and make sure I'm not picking the wrong thing. Nope, it was that one. Might be just a little tighter. Center that the way I would like. Make sure I'm centered left to right. A little bit of tape. All right. Now, I think I will run this through the die cut machine instead of bringing it into camera. Hopefully you're good with that. So noisy, right? Another thing, if you are using these stacks, something that was very good to do with your die cut machine is to make extra sure you have your top plate. We always try here, Taylor and I try, to keep our top plate clean or not cut into, and that's really important. It still gets a little rough and marred, but I think it's very important when it comes to things like having the foil on here or cutting into sugar cube, just so you don't have anything dirty getting on it. So I did cut this one a little bit smaller, but it still is good. Just a slightly smaller than my original. But if you keep that top plate clean, it will also not have add any texture, any marring to your foil. So just keep that in mind. It's something Taylor and I try to do here, and I try to do it at home too. So there's that. And then again, the stamp set that I had, the other one, I just love this saying, I love you with all my hearts. I'm going to use this all the time. You know that there's that background that TE sells with the little envelopes, and they have a little heart in the back of the envelope. I see myself using this year round. I love you with all my hearts. I love that. So this is also where I got the love you from, is out of this with the coordinating die. And these are also back in stock. I know they were out of stock there for a little bit. I'm going to put this I love you on there. I wanted it popped up, so I'm going to cut some tiny little pieces quick. And again, in my original, not on the photograph that was on the email this morning, I didn't have the little black rhinestones. But I like the addition of that. That is something that you can decide if you make these cards to add or not. I didn't cut. I've been cutting them teeny tiny. Try just a little bit thinner so I can get it behind the tails of this love you. There we go. Again, glasses, right? Okay, let's see. What is, and I apologize, it might be I can't see the name. I struggle. On our camera here, the names are in red and then on a black background. So it makes it very hard for me to read sometimes. So I can't catch the name, but the comment is in white, so I can always read that. But it says, yes, I keep my top plate with a tiny black Sharpie mark so it doesn't get, so it stays clean. It's kind of probably as your reminder. Taylor does it too. Sometimes we have a little green dot on the top piece, but we just try to keep it nice and pristine, and it really helps for if you're especially cutting white cardstock too on different things or sugar cube. It really does make a difference to keep it nice and all of your die cuts a little bit less marred is the only word I can think of. So peel the backing off of these if it will go. Alrighty, one more. And then again, this Love You, I can grab my ruler out, or I will go ahead and follow the line of where these come across. And I will check, see how much it hangs off of each side. Barely, doesn't. Then I can follow the lines of that, or I could grab my ruler. And then again, the little black rhinestones adds a little bit more to that card. All right, last, I'm gonna show you this in case we run out of time. I don't wanna miss this. Something that, and I'll turn my Mink on just so that it's heating up while we're talking. There's two products that TE has sold for a while. The toner sheets that are peel and stick, and the toner sheets. Do any of you guys have these at home and then just don't use them? I do. I have this one with the regular toner sheet at home, and I've always just used a sticky sheet. Like if I want a die cut that's with foil on it, I just use a sticky sheet. Because I don't need to grab my Mink, which that's fine. But I used the peel and stick today and was really happy with it. So if you happen to have the toner sheet at home, use that. Just you'll back it with a piece of like sugar cube cardstock before you die cut it. But let me show you. So the peel and stick, these are a little bit thicker. I don't know that it says on here, but it has like a sticky back. So you peel it away and I'll show you. But these do not. These are just the toner sheet. So let me show you. Because I've always loved doing little die cuts that are the foil accent of your card, right? So these are just the toner sheets. They're a little bit thinner. So I like using them, but what I do is I will take and put some liquid glue or tape runner or whatever and put another piece of sugar cube behind it, and then you put your foil on it and you can send it through your Mink and die cut it to whatever you want. So if you have those, use them. If you don't have a product, I was rather impressed because I don't have these at home. Today when I pulled them out, they have a little more weight to them. They're more like somewhere between a 60 and an 80 probably. But the top part is the same as the other one. So if you have, use what you've got. But I can take a piece, cut it off, and I'm gonna grab one of my scraps from earlier. And the biggest thing is to remember you do not want any black sticking out. Even if you have more foil than you do, you know, your piece, that's a good thing, because if you have black sticking out at all, you're gonna put black onto your carrier sheet, and you don't wanna do that. So you put the black side up, you put the dull side of your foil against that, put it into our carrier sheet again. So I'm gonna be, you do not want this, because if you do that, once you send this through, you will have black on your carrier sheet. You can take a little rubbing alcohol or Goo Gone or something to get it off, but if you just want to avoid that, just make extra sure you don't see any black sticking out. Let me get that in there. I don't have it square in there. I'll bring our Mink back in. That's ready to go, and run that through. And that is what I used, and I will peel it and show you. That is what I used. These are all pieces that I've done. This one happens to be that original one. That's just the foil, not the peel and stick, just the regular toner foil. It's thinner, and I've backed it with sugar cube and then die cut it. And these two are just the toner peel and stick. So it does have like a backing on here, if I can get my fingernail underneath there, it reveals like a sticky side of that, and that's fine. You can use it that way, or I don't go through the trouble. I think it's easier to grab some liquid glue. So completely up to you, whatever you've got. If you happen to have it, pull it out. If you don't have either one and you don't want to invest, you can always use a sticky sheet or something like that. So I will show you. So this is the peel and stick one that I put through, and then you just peel it up. And so you have your foil on this piece, and you can take, I had little bits hearts is what I put that on, die cut it, and you get all these cute little hearts for embellishing. Isn't that fun? That's what I used on this card. So I'm not going to run it through. I did some extra because I figured we'd be running tight on time today. Set that aside. So I have those ready to go. Again, I'm going to take one of our, I think it's this one. Maybe not. Maybe it's this one. Definitely not that one. I've already pre-cut my purple piece, so I want to make sure that I'm good on that. And you can mix and match if you have both sets, do that. Whatever works for you. I might have cheated on this one and used the regular one. Let me grab that one out. I do have the A2, the regular one. That might be what this is. Yep, sure enough. It's from the regular A2. So let me grab that one. Set that on there. Again, I'm going to tape it in place because we don't want it to move. I was trying to catch a little bit more of the white, so down this side, and cut off some of that where it ends. Completely up to you what you'd like to do, but that's what I did for mine. Run this through. Again, I'm just going to take it to my die cut machine, bring it back to you. Again, this one, now that I'm thinking about it as I'm looking at it, this card I did use the regular A2 ones because I can tell that I have a little more space between here and here. So I cut the plum punch from that. Add that. I already cut that ahead of time, so we had that ready to go. That will go on there like that. I might spare you the foam adhesive on the back of this one. So my tape runner, I would put foam tape behind the plum punch. And I suppose I can, I just won't peel it all up for you. Do my normal 4, peel back 1. I don't know, this stuff sticks so well. It's the reason why I do that, is just because it sticks so well. And if it's not straight, it bugs me. So I've ruined many a card bases trying to get it up, so, right? All right, sorry if you're running late. Thanks for sticking with me to the end. This one and one more should be easy peasy. All right, then I already did an envelope, and I do have a trick for you with this envelope. The way I feel like it should be is this little bottom piece. The one that's notched off should be your bottom flap. That's my personal preference. Fold them in, and then I put a little glue here and here. And I know I've talked to you guys before that all those little sticky back sheets that I save, they always have a purpose in my life. And one of them is for this, so that I don't have my envelope gluing shut. So if I lay that in there, bring my envelope closed, then I don't have any of that glue. If it does seep a little bit, my envelope will not be glued shut, because this is just a sheet of sticky back from like a sticker sheet or postage or anything like that. That will keep that from sticking shut, because this is removable and won't adhere to it. Then I wanted the little sheet of the notebook. I know this is out of stock, and I'm sorry. I was working on this before I realized it was out of stock. But this little notebook and then the clear is so cute to go in that envelope. So there's a medium that goes with the medium envelope, and then this is the small envelope. I'm gonna grab my Misty, because I need to have, being this is clear, we need to have the foam padding in there. So I'm gonna leave that in. I have a piece of scratched white cardstock. This is the way I choose to do it. I'm sure everyone has a different way of getting the lines and everything on their notebook. This just happens to be the way I do it. Put it down in the corner so that way if my paper does move, I can always go back to the corner here. Pick that up. I'm going to use saltwater taffy. My paper did move, so good thing. Push it back in the corner. Saltwater taffy to ink up the lines of my paper. That's what I thought reminded me the most of being in school. Put that down, and I'm just going to do one stamping on it because I don't want it to be dark. We'll take that off, get that clean. And then there are also the little lines that run down the side of your piece of paper, right? That are usually like a pink or a red. So I take those and I'd like to line that up, and I'm not super perfect about like making sure it goes with my edge or anything like that. I will set that on there, and then I do look on my MISTI to make sure my line is running somewhat straight that way. So to pick it up like that. Then I move that again, and I'm going to use a little bit of Cupcake. I thought Strawberry Milkshake that I used earlier might be a little bit dark, so I just went with Cupcake. I thought that was the best looking one. See, does not look like a notebook paper. I think that's so cute. It will be, if you wanted this and you didn't get it the first go around, just go ahead and sign up for our notifications for when it comes back in stock, because I wanted those holiday stencil strips that Taylor used for the advent calendar really badly, and you get, I have to use it the same way, and it comes through right away. So just sign up for those. I am butting my die up to the top so I have that empty top space on my notebook, and then again down that side. I'm gonna die cut that. Isn't that cute? I just think that's adorable. And then we will add our sentiment. And I chose the Sending Love, but there's so many in this that is so super cute. If you're first getting your stamps, just make sure you condition them when they're clear like that. I had already used this set yesterday or a couple of days ago, so I have already conditioned mine, but I want that to be on there kind of at a slant. So I'll grab my MISTI back again, move this out of the way. Gotta clean that, my little pink lines for my notebook. Slide that in there. Put it back where I wanted it, because I know it's gonna move. It's the nature of the clear stamps, right? They wanna pick up and move. So you could use Oreo. I use some of our VersaFine Clear. Stamp that. Give that a second to dry. I don't know about you, but I am really good at smearing this if I don't emboss it. So I'll give that just a second to dry, and we can put our little envelope. And this hopefully saved my envelope from sealing shut. So I keep those around. So we'll go in here, goes on my card. I'm gonna put a little liquid glue behind there. And then I'm gonna leave my flap of my envelope loose just because it's cute. Put that on kind of down in the corner. I thought that would be cute down in there. Grab my glasses so that we can place some of these hearts here, there, and everywhere. Hold that down while I grab my hearts. I thought these guys would just be cute, kind of nestled up in here. So again, that's that same Silver Shimmer Fun Foil, the TE, that I used for the foilets in the beginning. I grabbed those. Again, those were Little Bits hearts that I used for that. I need my pickup tool so I can add these. Thanks for staying with me late. Sorry, I'm keeping you late. I know some people, I've seen comments before that people are like, good way to spend my lunch break. I think that's fun. Tuesday, I was folding laundry. I had a day that I was at home Tuesday, and I folded laundry to Taylor's Live on Tuesday. So it's kind of fun to have something entertaining, right? Okay, I apologize. I haven't looked back at comments for a little bit. Okay, good. Hopefully you were just all listening. I didn't see anything that needed my attention, but that gives you the hearts that are on that one. And last but not least, I might not keep you long enough to finish this one because I will admit it took me a minute to get this all lined up, but I want to walk you through what I did. Again, I took this time, second one, just to cut that down and kind of bring it in and tighten it up just a little bit. And I've been naughty and I haven't been putting things back, so now I have a mess. I've got to see which one's my largest, right here. So this would be the largest, which would be your regular A2, and then to go down one step gets you down to this one, and that's what I use to hold, to kind of trim that, kind of center it up, and then it will fit on there. That's how I cut that one down. Again, line it up. But this, the Love and the Be Mine, when I did those, I want to show you something. Our TE vellum, I love using, like when I want to like diffuse or draw the eye in on something, I will use our TE vellum. And if I am not getting quite enough of that white look to my vellum, I will double it. I do this often, quite often. I will double the vellum so that I can get just more of that white, that diffusing the color to pull that in. And then these, the Noel or the Love, was released with our Valentine's Day release, and it was meant to go with our full cards, which are adorable, but I also think it's just beautiful on its own. And I'm not going to bore you with, because I grabbed my ruler and lined them all up and got them all in place, but I wanted to show you, you could do it one of two ways. When I did it originally, all of the little die cut pieces stayed in, except for like a couple of pieces, stayed in my letters, and I just went with that because I kind of liked it. It looked more like a letter press type situation, and I just put glue behind them when I put them onto my vellum just to keep it in place. When I did it the second time, they fell out, and I thought, well, I like it that way too. So it's kind of up to you when you come in to put yours together. And then this one, I used that same with Love stamp set, and I added the Be Mine through the middle. It's cute either wherever you want to put it. I thought it was cute at the bottom too. I just preferred like through the center of those letters. I thought that was really cute. So, and again, that one is just glued down after that. I did make sure I kept my glue with the vellum behind my letters so that you didn't see it through the card. But that's how I did that. Let me bring the other 3 cards back in. There we go. There we go. Well, I hope I didn't keep you too long. I didn't put that last one together because I don't like keeping you too much past an hour. So I hope you enjoyed this. I hope this brings some new life to the heart quad if you have it. Or grab yours today. They are available, and the foilet is available today. And then I know what you're all waiting for is our sneak peek. So to spill some tea, right? This next week is our kit week for TE, and it's pretty cool. It has a little Heather Nichols vibes to it. What do you think? Might need to go like this just so we can not have that. There we go. Peek. What do you think? Join Taylor on Tuesday, 10 a.m. She will be sharing the kit with you and going over all the supplies. It goes live at 9 a.m., but Taylor will be here Central Time, of course. Taylor will be here at 10 and sharing all of her ideas and all of the design team samples. Don't forget about the retirement sale. It goes through this weekend. So get any of the goodies that we feel like need new homes because they've spent long enough in our home here. So join Taylor on Tuesday, and don't forget about the retirement sale that goes through this weekend.